No, you need me for that thing, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good work. You can lose it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Filed it.
You know, along with your other keys.
Yeah. I had the place on.
Because I keep mine on my
Yeah.
key ring. Yeah. Curtis,
Yes, ma'am.
take this seat. You care.
Right now, it's only.
No, we don't know.
I guess they don't took it down.
I don't know. I'm intrigued.
I got one in my bag. You see one? Me, you, and
Really?
isn't it?
I think they gave it to me and it's in there.
Seth Lampkins and Patricia Fields.
Oh, I knew.
Yeah, just facts.
Oh, I knew I was in it.
Okay, on there.
We didn't call it to order.
Yeah. Hey, good evening, everyone. We're going to call the public safety meeting to order at this time. Let me start out by first and foremost thanking our public safety officials, whether it's saving cats out of storm drains or doing traffic analysis or what have you. I want to take this opportunity to, of course, thank each and every one of you for your efforts. Thank you guys for all that you do. As I've had conversations with with the chiefs, unfortunately, a lot of times, especially when it comes to public safety, it's a thankless job. It's a very thankless job. There's so much that happens behind the scenes to make sure operations go off the way they're supposed to. There are so many things that happen behind the scenes to make sure protocol is followed when we come out to putting out fires or whatever, doing rescue. There's so many protocols and things that happen behind the scenes that the public will never know. There's so many things that happen behind the scene that unless you're specifically trained in that area, you're not even aware that it's actually happening. One of the things that I will applaud our public safety officials about on today is the reason that so much isn't noticed is because you guys perform flawlessly. Not saying that everyone is perfect, not saying that every task that we do is perfect, not saying that every task is performed without hiccup here and there, but overall, the job is performed in a high standard manner. I'll go back to the Hot Sauce Festival. The only events that we had, the only emergency events that we had during the Hot Sauce Festival, where we had a few people to maybe succumb to maybe a little heat exhaustion or something of that nature. And I attribute that safety. I attribute that lack of things happening to our public safety officials. You were out and about. There wasn't a corner that I turned where I didn't see see somebody. So again, I thank you. And basically, we'll have a session at the end that that will if there are any specific concerns. But the purpose of this was more than just a regular or typical public safety meeting. I wanted to personally acknowledge and personally thank you guys for what you do. Yes, I may be a little biased because of being in the field for X amount of years. But even with that, I understand the dedication, I understand the training, I understand everything that you guys have to do to pull off what you do. And again, it is greatly appreciated. I'm sorry, Cindy, can I grab my glass? I forgot my eyes down there, so I can see. Yeah, so keep us on track and in direction. I know there have been questions in relation to our potential growth and how the public safety will address that. How will we move forward with ensuring that all of the citizens in the city of Oxford are kept safe? Just know that whenever voting takes place, or whenever we're here and we're making acknowledgement of new developments or things of that matter, whenever they're happening, we understand that the public safety is a major part of that. So it's not something that's done with that not being a concern, with that not being in mind. So trust and believe. There are programs, I guess, and I'll use that term, that will that will implement, that will put in place to make sure that, you know, as Oxford grows, of course, it's common knowledge our police department will grow, our fire department will grow. You know, that's just, I know, as basic and as, you know, elementary as that may sound, but that's the expectation, and that's what we're going to do. Now, we understand, like, Tom, that the rate may be expedited or maybe slowed down, but the main thing I want to get across on this evening, as it relates to that growth, that, you know, as the city grows, of course, it's common knowledge that, of course, the police department and the fire department will grow as well. Again, so I definitely want to put that out there and just ensure the public and let you guys know that, you know, things like that are being looked at. It's not something, we're not just up here just throwing out, you know, ridiculous numbers and expecting things to stay status quo on that end, because that's not the case. So, and as we move forward, that will definitely be the case as well. So I would like at this time to, because I have a few numbers I want to go over, just to confirm what we've talked about thus far. But I would like to take this opportunity to ask, and I pray I'm not catching them off guard, but ask the chiefs if they want to, if there's something that they would like to say, if there's something that they want to address to the public or the board, that they can do so at this time.
Look how they looking at each other.
I think I caught them off guard.
As you know, Chief David Cottrell, Assistant Chief Kyle Wilkins. Our staff, we have 14 full-time and part-time, 21 volunteers. So we don't do it just full-time staff. We have volunteers, part-time as well, to kind of fill the gaps in to respond to these calls. We cannot do it ourselves. I am one person. I may be the lead of the agency, but I cannot do it by myself, as you know. It takes everybody to do it. I don't work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It feels like it most of the time, but that's like I said, get the phone calls for cats and everything else. But our average day, for anybody that doesn't know, our shifts report to duty at 7 o'clock in the morning. They don't leave till the following morning at 7 o'clock, so it's 24-hour day. They do that for 3 alternating days, so it's a 72-hour shift. So they work a day off a day, work a day off a day, work a day, then off 4 days. And we have 3 shifts that rotate in that schedule. There are 4 full-time per shift. If we have a lot of stuff going on, hot sauce, things of that nature, we will bring in reserves, whether it's part-time, whether it's volunteers. We can backfill with callback from our full-time employees if we have major calls, rescues, fire calls, things like that. And then Chief Wilkins and I, we work. It says 8 to 5, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
So,
that's never the case.
it turns into nights and weekends like everybody else. We all carry pages. We come back for the big calls, small calls we listen to, and they elevate or escalate, and we respond to those as well. But the guys come to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, which we're supposed to come in around 8. I'll just have before that, come in sometime around that, you know, what's going on around town. Sometimes I like to ride around town and be nosy, just to go around and look and see what's going on before I come in. It's just something that my father did for 38 years, so I kind of took it up. That's the way you kind of keep up with things, about me and they right around. Starts out with checking the trucks off. We have a expensive fleet, which, you know, when we ask for money for 5 trucks, it's not cheap. You know, it used to be $300,000 for a truck, now it's $1 million. It's escalating beyond that. That's actually a study with Congress right now, trying to find out why 5 trucks went up 3 times the cost where they were 10 years ago. Trying to find out why they escalate so quickly. So hopefully that'll kind of cap the price off and bring it back down a little bit. But we check that equipment, make sure it's ready to go. That's the first thing that we do, because the calls come all hours of the day. So we come in and do that. After that, clean station, get breakfast if it's, needed. Some guys eat before they leave the house, some guys eat on the way to work. If they need some breakfast, they grab that. And then we move on to the daily duties. Daily duties including inspections. Chief Wood's been in charge of our inspections program. We've got roughly 17, 18 developments that's in some form of evaluation that we're looking at any given day, plus the routine inspections from the upfits, the alterations, new businesses moving in, old businesses moving out, group homes, foster homes, churches, hospitals, everything. We touch it all and have a different schedule. It's a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year schedule. School systems, they alternate so many days when school starts and then after school starts and before it ends, after the inspection. So inspections take up a majority of our day at this point. Calls interrupt us at this point because we are doing public education. We got about 850 fire hydrants that we maintain. We maintain the cleaning, the paint, and the flow testing for those for ISO rating. So we got to do that. We do it on a 3-year schedule. We break it up. Special requests, if we have an industry that needs a flow test, but they're going to add on to the sprinkler system, then we go out and do that. About 630 calls average per year dispatched through 911 center. And then we get calls every day for something else, whether it's smoke detectors. We do standbys for confined space for industry. We do industry training as far as fire brigade training. We go out and do fire extinguisher training for the industries, as well as the group homes, hospitals, things of that nature. We are somewhere every day. If we pull our calendar out for our phones, it is from 7 o'clock in the morning to about 6 o'clock at night. There's something on that calendar during that entire day, whether it's inspection, whatever else. All 5 department members have access to the calendar. Every day at 5 o'clock, that calendar goes off and reminds the shifts on the homecoming shifts what happens the next day, so they don't come in surprised. We may have a class coming in from a school system at 7 o'clock in the morning and they didn't know about it. Or we may have something scheduled to go out to Bridgestone Bandag or somebody like that to do a fire extinguisher class or fire brigade training. So they didn't know about it the day before, so our calendar rotates around that. As far as checking our equipment to maintain it in a steady phase, we have a special program that we have on our app on our phones, and every piece of equipment that we own is in that app. So the guys go out there, take their phone, they check off every compartment, every truck, fuel, mileage, lights, function, pump set, screwdrivers. It don't matter what it is, we keep up with it because the equipment is needed on scene and if it's not available or it's lost, and we need to have an idea of the last time it was used and who used the last. It's accountability is what it is. If you go in there today and you check that piece of equipment off and tomorrow it's missing, then we're going to backtrack and find out if you really checked off that truck or not. But the ship the next day shouldn't have found it missing at 7 o'clock in the morning. Then we'll go back and look at calls, things like that. Equipment, we have to rotate that equipment out every 10 years for our turnout gear. Even though we have some turnout gear that's in pretty good shape, after 10 years, some of it is bad after 2 years because we have different levels of firefighting. Some guys are true rescue heroes. They like get out there, get in the holes, get confined space, things like that, fight fire. And some guys, they that's not their forte. They want to do other things. They want to be the monitor on top of the confined space. They want to be the guy in the audience handling and moving ladders, things like that around. Their gear lasts longer. Or regardless, the state said every 10 years you got to take it out. So that's why you see on one of your line items there's a request for gear every year. In fact, every year we replace 5 sets of gear. That keeps from having to buy a lot of it at one time. We do the same thing with our air packs. We have 28 air packs, 28 spare bottles, all of it, so 56 bottles. Those bottles are $900 a piece. Those air packs are $13,000 a piece. So instead of buying them all at one time, we spread them out and buy some every year. So we're not getting that big chunk of money at one time. Trucks, like I said, generally last us 20 years, give or take, sometimes a little bit longer. So you spread that over, that 10 year at a time, and it's not as expensive as it sounds by the time you spread it out. We try to do the service that we can that you be provided anywhere else, even though we are a smaller agency. Our closest regional rescue team is Lake County, Raleigh. That's a 15-minute drive. Pull up another hour to assemble. So if you have someone hanging from the side of a water tank that's doing a paint job in the city of Oxford, you don't need to wait. So we do high angle, we do below grade, we do confined space. We have a fire, we have a rescue, agricultural. So pretty much anything that's going to come to us, we're going to jump on. Because we may not have all the people and the equipment to handle it right then, but we will stabilize the incident until somebody else shows up if we have to. Up to this point, we can handle most of it all by ourselves, so, which is a good thing. Matter of fact, we have a class starting Monday. It's 111 hours long. and it's gonna goes through the holidays up until the following week to get the new batch of firefighters and engineers into that same mindset. So they'll get their ropes rescue technician out of the way, and then they'll move on to the other things. Because it's recycling. Like I said, I've been here 31 years as of this October. Mr. Wilkins been here 25 years. Half my employees been here over 15 years. So they've had a good basis, but it's a recirculating thing. You know, people come in, attrition, they leave, they retire, or whatever else. So you always got to have a fresh group coming in. You got to train that fresh group to take off. So, what am I missing?
Right.
And then in the evenings, the guys, like I said, they cook a decent supper and so they can settle down if they can. Get out in the neighborhood. We were restricted at one time not to go out in public. We had to kind of stay to the station. And I did not like that when I took over 2013. We talked about it and get out there, be seen. You're going to see the trucks out there more. You're going to see people out there more. There may be, going to pick up some food, things like that. But they're available when you need them. And sometimes publicity is not bad. If they're out there and being seen, if you need it, then they're out there doing something. They're not relegated to the station watching TV and eating bonbons and not doing anything. They actually out there working and doing stuff. But by that same token, I will say if you come by at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you see the guys lay back on a chair and they're asleep, understand that the night before, they went out all night long fighting fire while you were sleeping. And by the time they cleaned up and were able to get something to eat, then I'm not going to bother them if they need to take a nap. Because they'll be out tonight doing the same thing after that nap. So as long as people understand the service, it makes it a lot easier for all of us. But for the longest time, the public didn't understand what we did and how we did it. But now I think being visible helps out a lot on that. And that's it. And coming up here and y'all asking questions, we answer them. That helps out a lot too. But that's the average day, in the Bible. I say average, but everything is kind of a surprise. You can plan, but just understand the plan will be interrupted at some given time. Like I said, those calls interrupt our day. They don't add to the day. They interrupt the day when we got something going on. So, any questions for y'all? Yes, sir.
So, Chief, as you view what is going on in the city in terms of development, things like that, what amount of additional staff and or equipment would give you a reasonable level of satisfaction? Because, I appreciate all the information you shared with us, but I kind of want to know how many how many firemen do you need, and what kind of equipment will you need going forward as these developments come to fruition?
So volunteers are great. Don't get me wrong, but the national trend, it doesn't matter if it's churches or whatever else, volunteers is going down. So volunteers used to account about 76% of firefighters in the country. That is going down, and we're having to supplement the full-time staff. And we are no different. We used to average 20, 22 people on fire. Now it's down to 16 to 18. And the volunteers cannot leave the jobs like they used to. The employer, either we're not letting them leave or they're so far out of town, working out of town, they can't come back. So the staff on duty is where you get your credit from. So not only is it a benefit of having them close by, it's also a benefit of the ISO because they're there and available as opposed to callback. So we definitely have to increase the staff. We're looking at that. We actually got a federal grant in now to increase the staff by 1 member per shift. So hopefully that comes through. If it does, that's great. If it don't, you want to see a request from me on the budget asking for additional staff members. Because we have so much that does.
Right.
Equipment wise, we're good on equipment right now. But we have to maintain it. It's like our rescue equipment. That's a 10-year lifespan. If we just train and practice on our rope, and we never use it for an emergency, every 10 years I have to discard it and use it as utility to buy a brand new rescue rope. Because that's the way the standard is. As far as the stations, then we've had this conversation at least once a week, if not more, about additional stations, public safety center, things like that. Location where it's going to go, we do propagation studies. Right now, we have a lot of growth that's spread around in different places. But ideally, if we were to do a station tomorrow, which we talked about, we want it out there closer to the 85 interchange where McDonald's is. So I think it allows us to do transition to interstate the new developments out that way, the Hatchet Creek, the Highway 96, plus get around to the Red Lines, the Deals, and come back to the Walmart area. Then as it grows further on this side, the split side legs, then we would look at additional station over here. The difference between our provision and provision of public works is that, yes, public works needs people, but they can be centrally located.
Right.
Because they are out about and they're not, their emergency response is not the same as our emergency response. The way the feds and the state looks at it, and basically the service looks at it, is they want an aerial truck within 2.5 miles of every front door, and they want an engine within every mile and a half of every front door. We have been lucky enough to do time. So we meet 3 minute, 5 minute, 7 minute benchmarks, because the most stoplights that we go through now is about 6. We go through 6 stoplights to get the furthest distance out of my area. So we can maintain that pretty well. The traffic increases, as the roads increase, as we bring in annexation, things like that, and that distance changes, that time changes. That's why I have to look at those stations. We definitely had conversations about that. The mayor brought it up, City mentioned us about it, about looking at additional stations, not just for us, but partnering with the police department too, kind of get in that station. But I'll let them kind of get in the conversation. And then the stations don't have to be, these grand hotel type stations you see all over the place with fancy fixtures, facade, and things like that. Substations can be smaller, and they can be set in environments that kind of fit the neighborhood. When the next station we build, we need to start looking at things like emergency operations centers, training rooms, things like that, to train these firefighters. So we bring them on board, we can get them trained. Because right now, we have to send them out of town and train them. We don't have facilities to train them up. So we try to centralize everything we can. Did that answer your question? What you
It did. 1 per shift
start with?
to start.
Start with.
Okay.
What sort of equipment would you need for a substation? Minimum equipment
So
to operate?
we had the foresight, we bought that last truck, which was the 75-foot aerial truck.
Yeah.
To understand that we will have to move the trucks around. So instead of buying a $500,000 to $600,000 engine, we bought a $700,000 aerial truck with also an engine. So when we move, we can move that truck there and we have the air in those stations. So
Okay.
we went forethought to do that. So rather spend 200 more now, it's 0% interest than it is to spend $1 million down the road. So that same truck today is $1.2 million.
Well,
We bought it 700 in 2018.
good foresight. Good foresight. Good planning.
Yeah.
Good planning.
Yes.
Good planning.
Now, with that being said, we're due for a rescue truck.
Right.
Our rescue truck is small compared to what we need. Which I just told you the rescue service that we provide. So we're going to let launch a rescue truck. Plus what we have now is it's about 25 years old. So that'd be the next major purchase in the rescue truck, other than a building land and structure.
So in the 2 calls I made to you, Chief, one was down at Speedway for a truck that was on fire, a vehicle that was on fire, and the other was the CAT. The difference in the response time was it was very quick to get to the Speedway. And then I'm watching the pot boil. I'm looking at my clock. I'm looking at my watch, and I'm like, okay, this is not that great a distance, but the difference between those response times, it was tremendous in my mind. And I knew that when I called you, I knew that you would call the station immediately, both times. And so my point is the need for that you speak of for a station, a substation out in that area is great. And I realized that with this last call I made to you, because had that been a dire emergency situation, it could have been a problem for someone. And proximity is key, because response time for you all, when you get there and able to assess the situation, it could be a difference between life or death. Of 30 seconds to a minute could be a difference between life or death. So I definitely hear your appeal and respect the need, the dire need for substations. But we definitely need one out in that area, because just you mentioned in Revlon, if something drastic happened out at one of these plants, it could be a lot of difference between life and death. So just to let you know, that's in the front of my brain as a city commissioner. So
The interiors that we have now with the construction of the furniture, like couches, chairs, things like that. A lot of synthetics. A 5 doubles every 5 minutes, give or take. So you think how long it takes us to receive, well, you make the call, 911 processes the call. Once they process the call, they dispatch the call. We have to take the call, respond, and then actually be active on the scene once we get there by taking in all our firefighters, assigning them assignments and putting them out there where they need to be at. It takes a while. To compound that with being nighttime and late discovery, and your neighbor calling in your fire versus you calling in, and think about how that would be.
Right.
Time. So these are all things that we keep in our forefront. You know, we hope that it doesn't happen. We know it happens across the country. We just try to plan for the best we can. So.
Yeah, you know, and I just want to say before, you know, before you guys sit down and before Chief Ford comes up, I actually had a chance to look at the amount of training that the fire department and the police department does. It's phenomenal. But you can tell that folks take the training serious. You can tell that it's not something as we commonly say, it's not being pencil whipped. That the folks are actually doing the training because it shows in the efficiency of what the departments do daily. But yeah, I mean, just looking at the amount of training that you do, it is phenomenal. And I would say this as well, and this again goes for both the police and the fire department, and not to discredit anyone's profession, but if my job is to type letters or take notes or something like that, and if I strike a wrong key, I can go back in and correct that. Give me a little bit of correct type, some whiteout, something like that, and I correct that. And in our profession, I think a lot of time is missed that one mistake could cost someone their life or cause a group of people their lives. So again, when I looked at the amount of training that's being done, I was even more encouraged because I know that even when I had scenarios in my mind, like, well, I wonder if this happened, if there's a training that's being performed that would address it, and it was. So, and then to add that to the years of knowledge and experience, that foundation that all of you guys have built for the department to run on and for your subordinates to work through. Again, I commend you guys, and that's what this is truly about. Usually, a lot of times when forums like this are held, it's because something has gone wrong. Something bad has happened, so now let's address it. I'm thankful, I'm fortunate that that's not the case here. That you guys do a phenomenal job, and it feels good to be able to have you guys come and actually give you the accolades that you deserve. So again, thank you guys for what you do every single day, and help keeping the city and our citizens safe.
We have prevention, and part of prevention is we have a smoke detector program. Clip East is actually in charge of that, and we knock on doors, and he may put in 100 smoke detectors a year, free to the citizens. Both the regular and the shake awake, for people that have deficiency to hear and things like that. But what I was going to say was, even with the prevention program, we cannot prevent everything.
Right.
So my job is to stop it in its tracks, mitigate it the best we can, and if possible, make it better. That's not always the case. Sometimes things happen. They call them accidents for a reason.
True.
But yeah, if you think that if you train well and you actually practice it, then hopefully you can handle most anything that comes up. I do not want you, and I know Chief Wilkins doesn't want to get in a situation where we have a call that we can't handle, we don't want to think about it. So that's where the training comes into play.
Yeah.
Training, education, at least you're familiar with it if you had contact before.
Right.
So,
It is.
okay.
You saw me smiling because I was thinking about the safety and Officer Peace when you said it, and I commend him in dealing with my daughter who's deaf, but he made her feel so comfortable in explaining to her what he was doing, why he was doing it, and what it would do. It wasn't haphazardly done, and that comes from training. Thank you.
and there are additional things that we're doing. So I know Commissioner Velez and, we brought some stuff a couple of meetings ago in relation to like speed cushions and stuff like that. So like I said, it's an ongoing process. And we'll just keep, keep our shoulders to the wheel and keep pushing. So,
Well, we
Thank
appreciate
you.
the opportunity to be involved.
yes, sir. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Chief Wilkins, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Russ Bill's will be about as long as Chief Wilkins.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you. Yeah.
But mine's more just a personal name. I just 29 years and 3 months.
Wow. Wow.
I just want to say that I appreciate the support that this entire board gives the police department and the officers for this event. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. I have a different leadership style. Everybody knows what an organizational chart looks like. It starts at the top and flows down. Well, I like to invert that. The chiefs at the bottom, I support everyone. I'm there for my officers. I work for my officers and the citizens every single day. But it just means a lot. I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot that I wish I could go see. 30 years in law experience. And I've seen a lot of good things. A lot of good things. I would just ask that you keep in mind with your next chief that just ensure that chief is someone who takes interest in all culture, because that's so important in this small community. It's 10,000 people, but we have a lot of different cultures in this community, and we have to be careful. We have to be sensitive to everybody's needs, because everybody's important and everybody counts. I don't believe. I think people have to be treated according to their needs, not necessarily. Of course, you want to treat people with respect, but people should be treated according to their needs. One may need more, one group may need more, one area may need more than another area. And that's one of the, in a town this small with a diverse culture, the way we have, that's so very important. It's going to be important in the next year. I really don't have a lot. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
just want to thank you for everything you've done over the years. Thank you so much.
I want to thank you for having enough courage to come back.
Yes.
Well, it was pretty exciting coming back, being the first female chief of the city of Oxford.
Say that again. And her first name is what?
I was the first female officer for Greenville Police Department. I was the first female captain for Oxford Police Department, and the first female chief of Oxford.
And the first name is what?
First name?
You go, girl. We're gonna leave that alone. Just get that first name in. Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Chief.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you have made this police department better than from what it was when you came back. And I know you and your officers have been working diligently to create better relationships with the community and stuff. So I really appreciate everything you've done.
Commissioner Bridges.
Good talk. Lord, Chief Ford, I've known you for years.
Years.
29 years.
Yeah. Because I've been in the court system almost as long.
Play golf
Maybe-
together.
That's right. And, I appreciate your work. I appreciate your comment about, how the community is like an organism, and that there are certain areas that need different touches, different ways of dealing with things than other areas, and the importance of understanding culture and those kinds of things. It's so interesting to me, when I hear Commissioner McCray and other commissioners talk about our fire department, our police department, we give such, glorious evaluations of how well they're doing, and it's true how well y'all do. I just wish that sometime this information was given to some of our community organizations so that they would understand
Mm.
how good our police department is and our fire department. And you know, we can talk about what happens on the national level and in other communities where you have mass shootings and vigilante actors. And the fact that we have a community that is relatively calm and good police officers and good firemen, we need to communicate that to some of our organizations around here
Mm-hmm.
so that they know it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Chief Ford, I've known you for a few years, and we've had a good relationship in regards to all of my community concerns or any community concerns I brought to you. You have listened. We've discussed in a calm manner, regardless of, and we have talked about some pretty hot situations, explosive even. And I want to thank you for always having a listening ear and being attentive to the details of what we discussed. So thank you, and I agree about everything you said about the next chief. It's my prayer that that person will continue as far as their engagement with the community, because I wasn't for the majority, for 95% of our relationship, I wasn't a city commissioner. I was just Scotty Brooks, a citizen of Oxford. And from day one, when I called you, you know, we sit down and we met. And so thank you for being open. And we were honest with each other. I told you that's the least we can be, is honest with each other. And so I think we have de-escalated more than a few situations. So thank you all. Thank you, and thank all your officers. And we appreciate your service to Oxford, North Carolina. Thank you very much.
One thing before you go, Chief, I have learned over the years that when you're in leadership, your followers are only as good as the leader leads. And I say that to say you have been a driving force. Some of your officers have responded to non-emergency, non-police field requests to assist seniors in getting out of homes or wheelchairs or down ramps. Personally, they came to assist my sister in getting down a ramp. And they came with understanding that it really wasn't a police job per se, but they came with human care. And that flows from your stature of bottom up. Thank you. And I hope they maintain it. Thank you.
And I, and, and I have to piggyback off that, Chief. When 29 years and 3 months, that is, that's a very long time.
Mm.
And one of the things that, Chief, that you show, a lot of times we look at a person's tenure and their experience. A lot of times tenure doesn't mean the
Experience.
Your experience shows. And it shows in the officers. It shows in, the way the department is run. I read this book called Extreme Ownership, and it's a leadership type book. And, one of the things that, that is highlighted in there is really, that top down leadership that you mentioned, even though you inverted, it means so much. Because 9 times out of 10, the way a person leads, the way a leader leads, his or her subordinates, they're going to kind of follow that same track.
Mhm.
And as I mentioned before, we could have very easily been sitting here, saying that XYZ happened and why did it happen, but we're not. And I can't say it enough. You guys do a phenomenal job in what you do. You do a phenomenal job. You did a phenomenal job in what you do. Job very well done. I know you and I have had several conversations. And again, every conversation that we had, even if it was something that you were like, well, it's, well, I did this. And I respect that to the utmost, because it's very easy sometimes for a leader to say, well, that wasn't me, that was,
Yeah.
so, but you never did. You never did. Again, I pray that, like you, the next chief that we have will be able to have some Pat Ford in them. No, I mean, because again, one thing that can't be denied is, again, like I said, that 10 years
Leader.
experience. That can't be denied, that can't be denied. And again, I personally thank you from day one, after, being elected, and then being, so I was gonna be the public, over the public safety. Both of you guys just, I felt at ease, because I knew there was experienced people that were department heads, there were experienced leaders that I would be talking with whenever something happened, or just doing a day. So you guys made it, so I was encouraged by it. And again, as I mentioned before, I'm eternally grateful for it. Chief, you will, not only for the laryngitis, you will be in my prayers. I promise you, going forward. And my number won't change. My number won't change. So if there's anything you need, I'm quite sure I'll still call you and bend your ear on a couple of things. And just know that. Thank you, man. I am
You coming?
very much, yes, I am very much looking forward to that. No, you're good. You're good. So we're coming out at the same time. So, but no, that's a good thing. And like I said, Chief, I thank you. I mean, I thank you so much for everything that you did, that you're currently doing. And enjoy chapter 2. You deserved every bit of it, Yes, man. Yeah. I do want to, as I mentioned before, we can have a very quick Q&A if there's something, and someone would like to. Yeah, public comments. That's perfect, instead of the Q&A. If there are public comments, they are welcome at this time. And if not, again, I thank each and every one of you for hanging out, for staying over just to be a part of this meeting. And we'll look forward to seeing you on next week. And at this time, I guess.
Public safety